And I'm going to be talking about the conflict that emerged from the 2018 ball tampering scandal in Cape Town, which was an incident that significantly damaged public trust in Australian cricket. While all parties agree the conduct was unacceptable, disagreement has arisen over the fairness, proportionality, and precedent of the sanctions imposed. My purpose today is to define this conflict, identify shared interest, and propose communication and negotiation strategies that can help resolve this dispute constructively and sustainably. To begin with, from a conflict management perspective, this dispute represents a task, values, and procedural conflict between an employer organization and a player union. To begin with, from a Cricket Australia's perspective, the conflict is primarily values-based and reputational. As the national governing body, Cricket Australia has a duty to protect the integrity of the sport, uphold ethical standards, and restore public confidence. By drawing on organizational ethics and legitimacy theory, Cricket Australia viewed strong sanctions as necessary to demonstrate accountability, reinforce cultural change, and signal zero tolerance for conduct that brings the game into disrepute. The unprecedented nature of the sanctions reflects the unprecedented reputational damage suffered by Australian cricket. From the Australian Cricketers Association perspective, the conflict is largely procedural and distributive. The ACA argues that while punishment was warranted, the sanctions were disproportionate, inconsistent with past precedent, and exceeded those imposed by the ICC for similar offenses from an industrial relations standpoint. The ACA sees this as a fairness issue, while players' rights, due processes, and employment security were compromised by overly punitive decision-making. With that being said, I've come to the conclusion that this is an interorganizational conflict rooted in differing interperceptions of fairness, authority, and responsibility. Moving on to underlying mutual interest, I believe that despite their opposing positions, Cricket Australia and the ACA share several important mutual interests. To begin with, both parties have strong interest in restoring and maintaining public trust in Australian cricket. Without credibility, fan confidence, and the sport's commercial and cultural value that is undermined. Next, both parties depend on the long-term sustainability of elite cricket in Australia. This strong governance and player welfare are not competing goals, but complementary ones. Lastly, both Cricket Australia and the ACA